everyone, my name is Rochelle Innocent and I'm the founder and CEO of Project Purpose. Welcome to our channel. Our community is focused on fostering the intellectual and character development in children. We do this through our parent-child workshops that are focused on 4 themes: autonomy, self-efficacy, compassion, and self-concept, in order to cultivate grit, perseverance, and resilience in each child. And we are so thrilled to be offering one of the first of its kind digital, virtual, and continuous learning environments, enabling parents and children to connect from all around the world. At Project Purpose, our overarching mandate is to renew and rebuild family, community, and relationships. Our different social media platforms provide us with an opportunity to have discussions and to create space for all topics that relate to family, community, and relationships with ourselves as well as with others, with a primary focus on mental health and education. More precisely, the ways that the institutions of mental health and education play a role and have played a role in our societies at large. These discussions and debates provide us with an opportunity to think critically about what needs to change within these structures for us to live up to our bold slogan: support, protect, and empower each child through youth-focused development, better known as leadership in juvenescence. We recognize that in valuing our children's leadership potential, this also translates as recreating and co-creating environments, both socially and politically, that will enable our children to thrive. For those of you who are particularly keen on the topic, we also write thought pieces every other Monday. We just dropped a thought piece this past Monday, so definitely be sure to meander over to the website and check out our online content. Now, if it is the case that you're looking for a listening alternative, well, we're available wherever podcasts are playing, and we provided you with access to a few links down below. Now, as is the convention, subscribe. I am not that great at growth strategy, but I do appreciate every follow, and if you do find that this is valuable to you, then by all means join our community. Let's get into it. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another segment here on Project Purpose. For those of you who are new, we cover topics that relate to mental health, mental wellness, and education on a week-by-week basis. And today's topic of discussion is mental health. And the conversation around mental health, I'm going to be talking about mental health and its correlation with personal agency. So its correlation with how you define options to choose, especially when it comes to relationships. So I am someone who, it took my entire childhood and most of my young adult life, so probably mid-20s was when I started to really have conversations, serious conversations with myself about my sense of obligation to relationships that were hurting me, especially familial relationships and different relationships that I had in the communities that I grew up in that just were not serving me. They weren't helpful, they hurt me a lot, but they were the kinds of relationships that I was conditioned to believe like I had no personal agency in the matter. I had no choice because of this person's orientation or relation to me, whether it was because they were blood related to me or because we were born as part of the same religion, whether it was because we were born in the same community, we grew up together, that I had to just grit and bear it. And so I fundamentally believe that I do not ever need to grit and bear any toxic relationship. And I find that a lot of us are conditioned to take so much abuse, and we have so much threshold for abuse because we've been told a lot of the social messaging, a lot of the conditioning that we've received is, well, because I am XYZ person in your life, I have the right to treat you however I want. I have the right to mistreat you. You are obligated to forgive me. And for a long time in my life, that is what I did. I forgave out of obligation. I forgave out of necessity because I felt like I was also putting myself at risk if I wasn't forgiving, because I was raised with sort of a religious lens that made me feel like I was myself seeking punishment if not allowing this person back to have access in my life. And I remembered the moment where I was like, there has to be something broken about this cycle of expectation to continuously subject myself to mistreatment by allowing the same people back into my life after they have been repeated offenders and doing things that have harmed me and that have hindered me. And so it is in that deep reflection that I recognize that there are no rules. There are no external rules that can be placed on your personal agency. If you find that there is a relationship in your life that is not helpful, that is not healing, that is not conducive to you creating a healthy relationship with yourself, if you find that a relationship with anyone is making it hard for you to respect yourself, to love yourself, yourself, to honor yourself, because that relationship is just so toxic, then you have every right to completely exit that relationship. And so it took far too long in my life to realize that that was something that I had the option to do. I didn't realize that that was something I had the option to do because I always felt that forgiveness meant resetting, level setting, starting back at zero, blank slating it. And I don't think that anymore. I don't think that forgiveness is about blank slating it. It's about taking the lesson that you learned from the impact of someone's behavior and then letting go of the pain associated with it. So not re-injuring yourself by harboring resentment, harboring bitterness. You let that go, but you take that lesson and you grow from it. And how you grow from it is you adapt and you adjust your behavior as a result of it. And if that adjustment involves exiting certain relationships, and that is absolutely your call, and it does not matter who that person is. If that person has hurt you, has harmed you, has hindered you in some way, shape, or form, then at some point, if that behavior isn't changing, it is most certainly going to escalate, and it has escalated for me in my life situation because I was just so complacent. And part of my complacency was because I was so desensitized to certain levels of emotional and psychological abuse that I didn't realize how bad it was getting until it was so bad that I just had to go completely no contact. And so part of my mental health journey, part of my healing was recognizing that personal agency, there's no arbitrary rules that will allow anyone, any group of individuals or any community to place on my sense of personal agency. I don't need anyone to understand my choices. I don't need to justify or rationalize my choices when it comes to the relationships that I feel are healthy and the relationships that I feel are harmful. If I have decided to go no contact with a relationship that would otherwise be seen as, oh, it's taboo to go no contact in that relationship, there's a lot of people who I find on different platforms talking about just how much backlash they get from breaking free from a toxic relationship because it was a toxic relationship that we've normalized. And we have normalized so many toxic relationships with family members who do not like us, right? Who do not behave in ways that one would expect a family member to behave. And so what we need to recognize is that each person, their family dynamics or interrelational dynamics, that is something that is very personal. It's very private. It's not something that I feel will ever be open for public discussion. Like I'm never gonna have a public forum and ask what you think about the decisions that I make, about the relationships that I keep and the relationships that I remove in order to support my own mental health journey. Like that's not something that I'm going to do. And if I have dealt with cycles of mistreatment and as a result of that I have decided, well, no, at this point I'm going to exercise my personal agency and just make it so that this isn't a cycle I'm repeating, nor is it a cycle that I'm willing, if I have children one day, to expose them to. Like I'm not only going to break the cycle for myself, but I'm going to break this cycle as part of like the people that come after me, right? The family that I would like to raise and create. And so I think that it's really important that we recognize that there are going to be people who don't understand how and why and what are the causes for some decisions that you make, but it's not for them to understand. It's for you to understand as long as you're in alignment, as long as you walk in peace. Don't let anyone make you feel othered or make you feel judged or criticized because you've broken off a tie that they themselves couldn't see themselves breaking off, because either they have different dynamics with those family ties as it relates to them, or because they themselves have normalized accepting toxic behavior if it is behavior coming from a specific person, because society has told us that those are the behaviors that we tolerate and that we grim and bear it. I'm not someone who is going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I've done it long enough. As part of my healing, I've decided that it's not something I'm ever going to do again moving forward, and I think that it's done nothing but leaps and strides for my own healing. It was definitely tumultuous at first, but I think that I have never been happier, healthier, and more whole since removing some of the toxic ties that I had. So that's why I wanted to come here and talk about personal agency, recognizing that it is for you to define and for you to maintain and for you to manage the way that you see fit, that enables you to align and to stay aligned with your highest self. And as it relates to my stalking situation, no news for you as yet, but hopefully soon. But take that in stride. And if ever it is the case that you feel judgment or criticism about making a call that you know is the right call for you, make that call anyway, and may the chips fall where they may. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you all very soon.